India is battling a relentless heat wave, and today the warning is coming directly from Prime Minister Narendra Modi. As temperature continues to soar across several states, the Prime Minister has urged citizens to stay alert, stay hydrated, and take heat-related illness seriously. In a series of tweets, Prime Minister Modi advised people to carry water while stepping out to avoid direct exposure during peak afternoon hours and immediately respond to the signs of heat exhaustion like dizziness, nausea, weakness, and headaches. He also appealed to people to regularly check on elderly family members and vulnerable neighbors during the extreme weather conditions. And in a compassionate message, the Prime Minister also urged citizens to keep bowls of water outside homes and shops for birds and animals struggling in scorching heat. But the concern is real because India is currently witnessing one of the harshest early summer heat waves in recent years. Temperatures across parts of Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh are ranging from 40 to 46 degrees Celsius, with some regions likely to approach 48 degrees. Delhi has already recorded its warmest night in 14 years. And experts say this is not just a normal summer anymore. Meteorologists say a powerful atmospheric heat dome is trapping hot air over large parts of India, preventing it from escaping. The lingering effects of El Nino have weakened seasonal rainfall, while the absence of western disturbances has left northern India unusually dry. And now the heat wave is triggering another major environmental crisis: forest fire. From Himachal Pradesh to Uttarakhand and Jammu and Kashmir, forest fires are spreading rapidly due to extreme heat, dry weather and highly inflammable vegetation. In Himachal's Solan district, flames engulfed forest stretches and damaged wooden structures as thick smoke spread across hilly region. Experts say dry cheer pine needles covering forest floors are acting like fuel. Even a small spark can now trigger massive fire, and climate change is making these fires more intense, more widespread, and far more difficult to control. On this serious issue, I am joined by Abhinash Mohanty, Global Sector Head, CCS IPE Global. I am also joined by Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, Padma Shri Chairman, Nephron Clinic; Dr. Sudhir Krishna, former Secretary, Urban Development, Government of India. Thank you so much, Dr. Sudhir, for again, coming to my show. Let me straight away go to Dr. Sudhir Krishna first, the larger picture. So what is happening? Did we get our urban planning wrong? Are we getting our larger war against climate change wrong? Can you please unmute yourself, sir?
I think your hint is quite right, because when we are urbanizing, you see the India's urbanization is unfortunately driven to a good extent by slums. People are migrating to cities which are not planned, which are not geared to receive the migrating population. So and these slums are normally, in a most haphazard way, they are on the sides of the embankments of water bodies, or in the open area, green areas which are public properties. Or so as a result, what has happened is a construction on one hand, and where planned development is also there, I think green cover is not much, and water bodies are also vanishing in the cities, and construction activities are such that it is opening up the surface of the earth. So dust also, along with heat, we are getting huge winds, and the winds with the exposed surfaces of the construction activities and garbage and so on, the dust also. So there are multiple challenges in urbanization which we have to take note. The cities are the future. Urbanization will continue to be there, continue to grow, but we have to gear up to receive the visiting population, expanding cities, and provide adequate green cover, adequate water bodies, protect our water bodies, revive the water bodies, greenery in the roadside plantation, avenue plantations. And lastly, for the while, I will say, we can discuss more as we proceed, that a lot of initiative has to be taken for public transportation system also. People should be provided facilities not to use their personalized motorized vehicles unless it is very essential or emergent, and public transportation system, so that, because vehicles also, automobiles also cause pollution. Heat, they also cause heat to increase besides pollution, of course. So cities are the abode for economic activities, no doubt, but the cities have to be prepared also to receive. This is on the urban planning side. And little bit I will add before I hand over to other panelists. You take that. You see, construction activities, the workers are there, street vendors are there. They all require, to be taken care of. For livelihood, the whole city cannot come to stand still.
Yes.
Construction activities
Yes.
are there, street vending activities, the livelihood of the workers. We have to provide for them, facilities for which
I
laws
think
are
instead of
there.
making cities friendly to people, we have ended up creating heat islands in city. Let me straight away go to Dr. Bagai. Dr. Bagai, uh, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to stay inside all the time? Prime Minister by tweeting this is sending out a message, and this may turn out to be one of the worst El Nino years. This has been reported by Reuters, something which the subcontinent witnessed way back in 1877, which led to the big famine. So, what do you advise, sir? Can we really cope up? How can we cope up, sir?
Good evening. So I think this is the price of paying, this is the price we all are paying for flying blind and not thinking of our immediate environment and the larger macro picture of environment. The rampant deforestation which has taken place in the hill stations close to Delhi NCR, the complete demolition of the Aravalli Hill range, which had a lot of greens, the illegal tree felling within our city. So obviously we have laws, but the implementation goes for a toss. But with regards the heat itself as what is described as the heat wave, so there are a couple of very important factors to discuss, and very briefly I will touch on each. One is the temperature range. So different continents, different countries have a different definition of what they call as a heat wave. The duration of the heat wave, that means how many consecutive days or how many hours that kind of searing heat persists. 3 is the amount of exposure a human being has. That means the number of hours and the time of the day they are exposed to. 4 is the relative humidity. That means higher the relative humidity, more the sweating. What this actually does is that this causes the arteries and veins to dilate, and you tend to start cooling. But in this process, you tend to lose a lot of heat, a lot of water from the body because of the heat. So the first impact is what we call as heat exposure. Then you come to heat cramps, then you come to shock, and then of course is unconsciousness. But in this cycle of reaching till the end point, the most important thing is to protect the vulnerables, which are the smaller children, because their body surface area is different as compared to adults with regards to the body weight. And secondly is to protect the elderlies and those with comorbidities. Having said that, the heart can get affected. You can have palpitations, you can have high heart rate, you can have hypertension episodes, you can have respiratory distress. The extreme heat causes disturbances in your neuronal circuits, what we call as neuroplasticity. People tend to have mood disturbances, depression, attention deficit, even to the point of aggression. You can have fluid electrolyte imbalance. You can lose a lot of body salts, which then ultimately affects your kidneys. And last, most importantly, is you can have dryness of skin. You can have sore eyes. You can have respiratory infections. Remember, this is not just dry heat. A lot of pollution is in the air. Pollution is not only a winter-specific issue. So there's a lot of dust, a lot of construction material which is happening right now, and this causes an overall impact on the climate, which is now reflecting as this heat wave.
Dr. Bagai, even, earlier the nights used to be cool as a child, when I would go back to my parental place in Agra, we would cool the baranda, we would cool the chat, we would go off, and I'm talking about 80s as a child, and the nights would be cooler, even a pankha would do. But the nights are becoming really warm, if I may use the word, sir, difficult to deal with. What does one do about it, sir?
Yeah, so in this temperature, if you see even the people who can afford to have air conditioning units at home, even those air conditioning units are really not cooling. But my thoughts and plight is for the people who are on the streets, because Earth gets the heat, it retains the heat, and during the night time it tends to cool. So the people who are the vendors, who are traffic policemen, even the poor people who are on the small little hutments at the side, they are carrying the real brunt. So the carry home messages Don't expose yourself at the peak hours, which is anywhere between 10:30, 11 till about 4:35 in the evening, unless until it's necessary to go. Point number two, cover your exposed parts of the body. Wear lighter colored clothes. Please wear a head protection, either an umbrella or a hat. This is not a fashion statement, but it can be life-saving for you. Wear a sunscreen. It's extremely important to prevent sunburns. Hydrate yourself well, and it's not merely with water. It has to be with the adequate electrolyte balance so that your body salts get replenished, because your skin and through the environmental convection currents, you tend to lose a lot of fluids. Last, most importantly, is don't eat very heavy food, deep fried food, because the digestion can get impacted in this heat wave. And last, most importantly, is please do not have aerated drinks. These aerated drinks tend to internally dehydrate you, not hydrate you. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Stay with me. Let me go across to Abhinash. Abhinash, I was playing out those visuals of Himalayas. Are Himalayas heating faster than the plains? It's like, it's like Arctic heating faster than the other ice packs. Are we witnessing an accelerated climate change in Himalayas?
Good evening, Karthikeya, and to fellow panelists. We are discussing about heat waves. In Himalayas, the heat waves are rampantly been observed. The impact of climate change is way faster observed across Himalayas because they are fragile ecosystems, right? If there is an external pressure or stress, the person who is more fragile is going to be impacted the most. Similarly, in terms of landscapes, the fragile ecosystem than that of Himalayas are getting impacted more and more. I'll start with numbers and some numbers from some of the studies that we have been doing. 79% of Indian districts are now extreme heat wave hotspots. And this is from one of our studies. But what has led to heat wave is a microclimatic heat wave. And microclimatic heat wave, and couple of days before, we just had an pilot study that came out within the Delhi NCR region between Basant Kunj and Mahipalpur. If you observe the microclimate, then in Mahipalpur area, which is urban way, very clustered, was around 43 degrees temperature, whereas Basant Kunj, where you still find a lot of greenery, it was 37 degrees, right? The ambient temperature was lower. So I echo with what Dr. Krishna has just said in terms of landscape ecosystems or the landscape restorations. What we have done is we have done a horizontal growth. As a result, what happens is heat are getting trapped. As a result, our seasonal, meteorological, and climatological processes are being disrupted. And as a result, our whole cycle has been disrupted because, anyways, we are going to emit more and more heat into the atmosphere. But at the same time, if the temperature is getting trapped or the heat is getting trapped, it's like within this 50 degrees, we kind of have all the heaters on than air conditioners on. How do you feel about it? This similar kind of phenomenon, and this fragile ecosystems, what's going to happen is more and more of the dry spells are across this Himalayan region. As a result, forest fires are going to be more and more aggressive. Number one. Number two, what is also going to happen is this in the this is an El Nino year, and we are going to witness more and more of those incidences of incessant and erratic rainfall. So what will happen is the overall rainfall in the monsoons is not going to happen very uniformly. We'll have 2 to 3 dry spells of rain, and the whole cities are going to be grappling with. So once you manage heat wave, you move on to managing the urban flooding issues, which is largely a problem that we all have made into and we all have gone into. Where we have gone wrong, we have gone wrong in two ways or two stages. One is we have, being an aspiring urbanized country, we haven't been able to climate proof our urban hamlets, because there is always an aspiration. If I am from tier 3 city, I'll always try to move to tier 2. Tier 2 ones will try to move into tier 1. And that's where the population density, the carrying capacity of our ecosystems have been punctured time and again. As a result, what has happened is our ecosystems have become more and more fissured and fractured, and hence all of these heat phenomena are just going to aggravate, make more health issues. We are going to lose more and more jobs, largely 35 million jobs by 2030 is some of the estimates from the studies that have come down. India is going to lose. Now, with all of these advisories, this is very good. But with Dr. Bagai, I completely echo. We are not going to only sit. We also need our economic activities to be moving on and running on. How do we get our bread and butter?
There's one more aspect to it. If you look at the heat map, out of 50 hottest cities, more than I think 40 or 44 were in the subcontinent. Dr. Sudhir Krishna, because of geographical positioning in the Himalayas, the entire subcontinent is also heating faster. So I don't think long-term planning is required. I think real short-term work needs to be done for ensuring that the heat islands that have sprouted in last 10 years, something needs to be done about them, because in next 10 years these cities will become unbearable, unlivable.
I think the solution, you rightly said that the long-term solutions are to be pursued, but we should not lose sight of the immediate solutions also. We should pursue both. Now, among the immediate solutions, I would say people have also to cooperate. I mean, to begin with, I put the rider. For example, when the buildings are designed, there's a kind of veranda is there, balconies are there, which serve multiple purposes, including circulation of air. But you notice that people close the balconies unauthorizedly. As a result, there are multiple challenges. Recently, we saw so many cases where the fire accident happened and the fire system, the fire personnel could not enter the apartments because the balconies were closed with grills and so on. So, and that is a fire side hazard. But even the heat issue also, the air circulation is very necessary. So, while we can blame the nature for the climate change and so on, that may be right also, but such things are there. And the second thing is when the cities require at least 10% of the city should be green. At least, actually, the URDPFI guidelines of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs recommend
So you would
that
be
it should
knowing,
be
does
18%.
does any city qualify that? Bombay, Mumbai, Bangalore?
Yeah, two cities straight away, two, three I can name which qualify. One is Delhi,
Okay.
and Delhi is among in the larger cities. Delhi is number one. But if you go to smaller cities, even Chandigarh has got more than 25% of
Oh,
area
Chandigarh
is
is a very,
green,
yes, yes.
and even Gandhinagar has got. But these are smaller cities. But even in Delhi, though more than 25% area is green, but it is not spread uniformly, because there are areas where in slums, good part of East Delhi and so on, good part of Delhi has got slums where this ratio is just like maybe much lower in single digit also, 3%, 2%, if at all it is there. So therefore, I think maintaining green, it doesn't cost much. We can plant trees here and there where public spaces are available on both sides of the streets and roads. We can plant trees, and it doesn't cost much. And whatever cost is there, good part of it is for labor employment also. It gives employment to people. Afforestation gives employment to people. It improves quality of life, improves
Okay.
environment. I mean, you name the
Okay,
benefits.
okay. I'm running short of time, but there's one question which I really want to ask Dr. Bagai, because we journalists also have an erratic schedule. Sir, do warm nights, do they have the capacity to impact your organs, sir, like kidney or the heart?
Absolutely. I think it definitely impacts short-term, mid-term, and long-term. People with this kind of extreme heat also have neurological and adaptive behavior changes, mood changes, concentration and attention deficit. But a very quick point, if I may, with your permission, add is, I think the way we need to adapt in winter because of the cold and fog, and I think we also need summer adaptations. So we need to learn from the Gulf countries. When the construction activities occur there, it begins at 5:30 in the morning in summer months, and it takes a pause at 1 p.m. And then it begins again at 6 in the evening, and it continues till 10. The entire city shuts down for 2 to 3 hours during the afternoon time. This is to protect the exposure to the heat. We can't have business as usual with these extreme, non-compatible with life conditions, with this kind of sustained heat. You can have a couple of hours of extreme heat and then recover. But if you have 48 to 72 hours of temperatures beyond 45, this is non-compatible with life. It does affect every body organ for sure.
Thank you. And a closing statement from Avinash. Do you think that do we need so many highways in the Himalayas, making every part accessible? Do we need them?
We need a more environmentally sustainable highway. If you are putting down one tree, we should have mediums of bringing up five more trees, and that to those species which can grow faster and bolder and provide more and more of the canopy heights.
Okay.
And that's where we are going wrong in terms of, yes, the development is required, but it has to be climate proofed and environmentally sustainable, and more importantly, it has to be locally led. That's where we are missing the buzz, Karthik.
Okay.